Guys, I know I said episodes 2 and 4 were my favorite episodes of all time. Episode now is now my top priority, and I am still rewatching it as of now. If there has to be an episode that twisted my heart with emotions, besides last week's 2 episodes, this episode stays with me forever. So let's just jump into the review video, shall we? The Batch are now on another mission with Sid to fly out of Plateau region to locate a mine Sid purchased to extract Ipsium, a component that is very explosive when raw, yet worth a lot. As the group heads over towards the entrance, Hunter makes Wrecker and Omega be on the lookout, but it would have been helpful if Echo was there since they assumed they needed Wrecker's assistance for a task like this. But since that isn't the case, Hunter and Tech are the ones to locate any Ipsium spots in the mine. All seem lost until Tech found a site that is very high and tight to extract it, so he calms Omega to ask for assistance. At this moment when she is the one to extract the Ipsium, we notice she starts to act like a teenager when Tech tells her about being careful when extracting it. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a poacher that is planning on stealing the Marauder behind a wall that Wrecker can't see since he is on the lookout. The three exit the mine until Hunter's senses kick in and start running off with the Batch behind him to see the Marauder fly off from the thief. The group starts bickering at each other for a moment that gets Omega upset until Tech points out there's a spaceport 40 clicks west and the only way to Hap is on foot. And this is where we find ourselves in the Lion King as Hunter's senses go off again to find out that a stampede is coming towards them. Hunter then uses his grappling hook to throw out a wedge, while Wrecker throws his own grappling hook for himself but slips off from it. Eventually he comes up, but Tech shouts at him to protect the Ipsium case that he dropped, or else it will kill everyone. Becoming Mufasa, Wrecker drops down to cover the case while being hit from the stampede until they all run away. The group finds out that it was a storm that is causing the stampede, and they run off to find another mine for shelter. Unfortunately, Tech lost his footing and slipped as he is the one who dropped the case, but gets saved from Wrecker and leaves without the case. Once Omega notices the case gone, it gets picked up and Hunter shouts for the group to head inside as the case explodes and barricades the entrance. Okay, at this moment when Wrecker and Tech are biting their heads off on whose fault it was, it got me laughing so much, not gonna lie. But Hunter breaks it up and the group begins to move the boulders away as Omega is trying to connect back with the Marauder. Tech points out that the ship won't likely get retrieved back, which upsets Omega since it became her home. Losing Echo has made such an impact on her, which is why she persisted on making sure they get the ship back. Yet this is the moment when Hunter tries to sugarcoat that they didn't lose Echo, but this moment made me a little upset since there is no sugarcoating that Echo made his decision. And then we get into Tech stating that the squad existed before Echo and ask, "What is your issue?" I am not kidding when I said my mouth instantly dropped on such a moment like this to happen, as Omega throws his data pad back at him and leaves asking to be alone. I get that some people would hate Tech at this moment, but it doesn't upset me because he doesn't know how his words affect those he communicates with. Hunter and Wrecker are both disappointed at him, but it doesn't affect Tech much since he stated the truth that Omega already knows. We go where Omega finds a tunnel to solitude herself until she sees something glowing from the wall and uses her tool to break the wall to find lots of Ipsium to extract. Back with the three that are still digging their way out, Tech still gets snippy about the Ipsium they could have used, but Wrecker points out that he clearly was the one who dropped the case. Tech decides he'll extract some out of the mine, but Hunter also wants him to be the one to talk to Omega after his mistake. Tech then locates the same tunnel Omega went through to find her and begins to help her extract any Ipsium they could get. Once they are in the last vial, this is where it all goes down, literally, and she decides to become episode 1 to risk herself again on risking an Ipsium she can't reach. At this time she slips and falls, which is where some would assume Tech would hesitate to fall after her, but he does it with no hesitation and finds himself dropping at a fast current ravine. He swims after her and holds her close as we shift back to Hunter and Wrecker for Hunter to sense something is off and runs off again. Now this is yet another water scene with Omega that is now a Tech that I somewhat enjoy, even though they have been sucked down from an underwater tunnel and off at a waterfall likely to be alive. Omega finds an opening spot for Tech to scan that is a passageway if they can get the Ipsium down with Hunter and Wrecker's assistance. Now this is another moment that my heart just couldn't take emotionally, and it is finally the cave moment with the two to finally have a conversation with each other. Omega reminds him about the changes that are going on and how he isn't affected by it, yet to Tech, he views it as a way to adapt changes like a soldier. The moment Omega asked him if they are a family, Tech's answers was hesitant since he isn't aware of what being a family is like when she has an idea of what a family is supposed to be. And when she asks him why he doesn't act like it, it brings a pause for him, and it instantly breaks my heart to see him confused at something he doesn't know how to process well. But his answer is so moving since he understands when Echo and Crosshair changed their paths, Tech took it as he had to accept their decisions and move on. He may process the moments differently than Omega, but he makes it clear that he actually feels more than she thinks. It was such an moment for these two, until we hear Wrecker scream as the other two finally came behind them. With a vial of Ipsium in place, Tex makes a precise shot as to open the passageway, and the group comes out to see the spaceport at a distance. It reaches night when they arrive, and they find out that it has been abandoned for a while, until Tech points out that he can make a long-range distance from an array. They contact Sid, and this is where she makes the excuse with her hands tied up, and Omega asks Sid for her help. But honestly, when Tech recapped the moments when they helped her with Duran and Malegi, Sid gets the point and will get them help in a few days. Sid really did deserve that recap from Tech, since it should be fair as a group doing missions for her, they deserve at least assistance from her too. But she ends the transmission, and the group is now stranded on the spaceport until help arrives. I still can't express enough how this episode was so good on Tech, since he is my favorite clone, and we are still seeing how he perceives moments like this with Omega. I honestly was hoping for something like this to happen between these two, and they wrote this moment fairly well. And look, some could even say in this episode that Omega was annoying, but this is the fact that we are now seeing a growing up Omega from season 1. She may still have her moments of causing some mistakes, but it doesn't mean that she should be disliked based on this episode, since there is still more to come in 7 episodes. But to me, this episode was a 10 out of 10 mainly for Tech's perceiving on the episode, and to finally have a connecting moment between him and Omega. If you guys got anything to say for this episode review, put them down in the comments section, and I'll see you guys in the next episode review. Bye!